Good morning, children. Welcome to economics class. So, in the last class, we learnt about the different types of elasticity of demand. Under that, we saw price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, cross elasticity of demand, and advertising elasticity of demand. Now, we shall go to the degrees of price elasticity of demand, or otherwise the levels of price elasticity of demand. Now, the definition, the price elasticity of demand, the degrees of price elasticity of demand, say when there is a change in the price, what is the response it creates in the demand? That we call it as degree of responsiveness. To what extent, okay, the change in demand is happening because of the change in the price of the commodities. This you call it as degree of price elasticity of demand. This degrees of price elasticity of demand can be measured in numerical terms. So, under that we have perfectly elastic demand. With this diagram, it will be very easy for me to explain and for you also to understand. In the x-axis, we are taking the quantity demanded, and in the y-axis, we take the price of the commodity. Now, when the price is OP, okay, quantity demanded is somewhere in the x-axis. Now, the price does not even change. Okay, but the quantity demanded, okay, keeps on changing. From 2 it increases to 3, from 3 it increases to 4. If such is the situation, then the elasticity is said to be perfectly elastic, which means for a slight change in price or no change in price, there is huge amount of change in the quantity demanded. If that is the case, then elasticity of demand is said to be what? Perfectly elastic. The value will be infinity. That is change in price, change in quantity divided by change in price. That is a formula. Change in quantity is more. Let me take 4, 5, it can be anything. Change in price is 0. 4 divided by 0 is infinity. Okay. So, when you look into the explanation, there can be very small change in price or no change in price, but the change in the quantity demanded is very long, is very high. In such situation, the elasticity of demand is infinity. How will the curve be, demand curve be in such a situation? The demand curve will be a line parallel to the x-axis. It will be horizontal. It will be parallel to the x-axis. That is the nature of the demand curve. And what is the value for perfectly elastic demand? EP will be infinity. The value will be infinity. Next is perfectly inelastic demand. The previous one what you saw is perfectly elastic. Okay. The change in quantity is infinity. So, the value is also infinity. Now, coming to the next topic, that is perfectly inelastic demand. With the diagram, it is easy for you to understand. See, when the price is P1, OP1, the quantity demanded is OQ. Okay. When the price falls to P2, quantity demanded is the same OQ. Again, the price falls to P3. Now also the quantity demanded is same only. So, here the change in quantity demanded is 0, but the change in price is 1, 2 or 3, it can be anything. So, when you find the elasticity of demand, change in quantity is 0, change in price I can take it as 2. So, 0 divided by 2 is 0. So, the value of elasticity here is 0. Now, look into the nature of the demand curve here. Is it vertical or horizontal? It is vertical. It is vertical to the x-axis and parallel to the y-axis. So, the nature of the demand curve in this case is, it is a vertical straight line which shows even when the price changes, there is no change in the quantity demanded. So, it is said to be perfectly inelastic. There is no elasticity at all. You cannot change the quantity demanded, whatever might be the change in the price of the commodity. The next type of elasticity is relatively elastic. Just look into the diagram. Price is taken in the y-axis, quantity demanded is taken in the x-axis. Now, when the price is P1, the quantity demanded is Q0. They have given here as Q naught. Now, the price falls from P1 to P2. There is a small fall in the price of the commodity. Now, just look into the change in the quantity demanded. The price falls from P1 to P2. The quantity, when the price is P2, the quantity demanded is Q1. Okay, just look into the dotted lines. The quantity demanded is how much? Q1. That means for a small fall in the price, there is a big change in the quantity demanded. See, the price has fallen very little only, but the quantity demanded has increased more. Okay, which means it is relatively elastic. The value of elasticity is greater than 1. Okay, now change in quantity divided by change in the price is the elasticity of demand. When you just look into this, change in quantity demanded is definitely a number more than change in the price. The gap between Q1 and Q0 is much bigger than the gap between P1 and P2. Okay, so because when you find the value of the elasticity, definitely it will be greater than 1. And now in such a situation, you call this type of elasticity as relatively elastic demand curve. And the relatively elastic demand curve, when you look at the slope of the demand curve, it has got a gradual slope. It is not vertical, it is not horizontal. It has a very gradual slope. Okay, so underline this, the demand curve is a gradually sloping demand curve. Here they have given you in numbers. The change in the price is from 11 rupees, it has fallen to 10 rupees. Change in quantity demanded, from 5 rupees, it has increased to 10 rupees. So, what will be the change, the percentage change in the elasticity here? 10 minus 5 divided by divided by 1, the change in the price is 10%. Hence, it is what? The elasticity is said to be, it is said to be relatively elastic where the value of EP is greater than 1. Next is relatively inelastic. Look at the diagram. X-axis quantity demanded is taken, y-axis price is taken. Now, there is when P1 is the price, quantity demanded is Q1. When P2 is the price, quantity demanded is Q2, which means from P1 the price falls to P2. Okay, there is a big fall in the price of the commodity, but the change, but see, when there is a big fall in the price, there should be a big change in the quantity demanded, is it? It is not happening, but the change in quantity demanded is very, very small. Okay, in such a situation, this type of elasticity you call it as relatively inelastic. Now, the value of elasticity will be definitely lesser than 1. Okay, because the change in price is much bigger than the change in the quantity demanded. So, change in quantity demanded, if it is 1, change in price is how much? It can be 3. Okay, 1 divided by 3, definitely it is lesser than 1 only. Okay, so here the value of elasticity is less than 1. What can you say about the slope of the curve or the nature of the curve? The nature of the curve is steep. It is steeply sloping downwards. The demand curve is steeply sloping downwards. Just underline that. Okay. Next is unitary elastic. That is, unit means what? Normally unit refers to 1 only. Just look into the diagram. X-axis quantity demanded is taken, y-axis price is taken. When price is P0, quantity demanded is Q0. When price is P1, quantity demanded is Q1. When price falls from P0 to P1, the quantity demanded extends from Q0 to Q1. Okay, which means the change in price, if it is 1 rupee, the change in quantity demanded is also 1 unit only. Okay, so for a equal change in price, there is an equal change in the quantity demanded. When there is a change in the price, there is a same proportionate change in the quantity demanded also. If such is the case, you call the elasticity as unitary elastic demand. Okay, in this case, the nature of the demand curve, it will be almost like a rectangular hyperbola. It will be like how a rectangular hyperbola it will look. Okay. Next, see here you have a small description table where the different values, the numerical values of elasticity is given, and how we represent these terminologies. Okay, if it is infinity, if EP is infinity, you call it as perfectly elastic. Okay, the change in demand is how it is infinity for a given price. What is the nature of the curve? It is horizontal to the x-axis. Next is change if the elasticity is equal to 0. If that is the case, you call it as perfectly inelastic. Here the demand curve will remain unchanged. Okay, whatever might be the change in price, it will be a vertical line. Next is EP is equal to 1, which you call it as unitary elastic. The change in quantity demanded will be equal to the change in the price. So the nature of the curve will be how? It will be like a rectangular hyperbola. Next is when the value is lesser than 1, you call it as relatively inelastic, which means if it is lesser than 1, it means for a big change in price, there is a small change in quantity demanded. Then the nature of the curve, it will be a steep curve. It will just fall drastically. It will be steeply falling. Suppose if the value of elasticity is greater than 1, you call it as relatively elastic demand curve. In such a situation, the demand curve will be a gradually sloping curve or a flatter curve where the value is greater than 1. Now, we need to understand what are the factors which determine the elasticity of demand. Now, we have understood what is elasticity of demand, the different types of elasticity, types of degrees of elasticity of demand. What are they? Perfectly elastic, perfectly inelastic, relatively elastic, relatively inelastic. Last one is unitary elastic. So, when it is perfectly elastic, EP value is infinity. When it is perfectly inelastic, EP value is 0. When it is relatively elastic, EP value is greater than 1. When it is relatively inelastic, EP value is lesser than 1. When it is unitary elastic, the EP value is equal to 1. This is what we saw. Now, we are giving certain numbers, okay, for the EP value. It can either be greater than 1 or lesser than 1, or can be equal to infinity or 0. What are the factors which determines this elasticity of demand? The EP value is this. What is the reason for that? What are the factors which influences the EP to be greater than 1 or lesser than 1 or equal to infinity or equal to 0? What are the factors which decides the elasticity of demand values? Now, first is availability of substitutes. See, for example, if there are close substitutes for the products, definitely the elasticity will be greater. The demand for a product will be very, very elastic. See, for example, vegetables. See, the price of beans is very, very high. Okay, and automatically demand will fall down, is it? Okay, or what will people, and instead of beans, I can substitute it with some other vegetable also. Okay, it is not that I can survive only with beans vegetable. I can go for carrot, I can go for potatoes, I can go in for clustered beans. Okay, so when there are substitute for the products, definitely the elasticity will be high only. Okay, the elasticity of the product will be very larger. On the other hand, when there are no substitutes for the product, definitely the elasticity, the price elasticity, it is said to be inelastic. The product is said to be price inelastic. What are the commodities which doesn't have substitutes? See, without this you cannot do anything. Very simple. Salt. Okay, salt has got no substitutes. See, without salt you can survive, but there is no substitute for salt. Okay, you have to use salt only. Might be you have different types of salt, but as such when you take salt, there are no substitute for salt. So when price of salt increases, okay, people will buy the same level of quantity of salt only. Just because the price of suppose the price of salt falls down, will we buy more? Will we buy and stock 10 kgs and 20 kgs of salt? Definitely we will not do, because we cannot use more than a certain amount of quantity of salt for our food. So when the product does not have any substitute, definitely the demand is said to be, the demand for that product is said to be inelastic. Okay, it is said to be price inelastic. The next case is proportion of consumers' income that is spent on a product. Suppose, for example, the amount of money that we spend on a particular commodity month after month will decide the elasticity of that commodity, price elasticity of that commodity. See, for example, if we are spending the same salt itself, we can take as an example. Salt is a commodity where we spend a very small portion of our income for buying salt. Okay, for buying salt, how much is money that we spend month after month? Just 15 rupees we spend on buying a packet of crystal salt, or at the maximum it can be 20 rupees only. Now, just because the price of salt has decreased to 10 rupees, will I buy more salt? Definitely no. And not only that, the amount of money that I have spent on salt is just 15 rupees when I compare to my salary. My salary can be 50,000. What is the proportion of money spent on salt? It is a very, very smaller percentage. Okay, so in such a situation, for commodities where we spend very small amount of money when compared to our total salary, for such commodities, the elasticity is said to be very small. Likewise, matchsticks. Okay, matchbox. The amount of money that we spend on matchbox is very, very less. Okay, when we compare to the income, when we compare to our income. So, for such commodities, even when their price increase or decrease, it doesn't affect the quantity demanded. So, for such commodities where the proportion of expenditures when compared to the income is very, very small, then the elasticity is said to be inelastic. Okay, so the price elasticity for this product is said to be very, very small. Next is number of uses of commodity. See, a particular product can be put to more uses. Okay, in such a situation, definitely the its elasticity will be very high, will be larger. A good example what they have given is milk. Milk is a product which could be put to several uses. Okay, it could be put to how many uses? Milk you can consume as milk, you can convert to coffee, tea, you can take as curd, you can make butter, you can make ghee, you can make paneer, you can make many dishes, sweets out of milk. Okay, so when the price of milk falls drastically, what will people do? People will start enjoying milk in their different varieties. Okay, by preparing different delicacies, just because the price of milk has fallen down. So when a particular product could be made use for more number of, when number of uses of commodity is there, a product can be used for different purposes, automatically the elasticity of that product will be very, very high. Okay, and next is complementarity between the goods. Here, what are complementary goods? To satisfy one want, you have to buy two or more commodities. Okay, you have to buy two or more commodities. Where, see, for example, when the price of when I talk complementary goods, pen and ink are complementary, petrol and vehicle are complementary, lubricating oil and petrol is complementary. Okay, see, for the vehicle to run smoothly, you need lubricating oil. Petrol is also needed. To run smoothly, you need lubricating oil. Here there is an example with that. See, the price of lubricating oil has increased. Okay, definitely it will not reduce the demand for lubricating oil, because lubricating oil should be bought, okay, irrespective of the demand for petrol. Okay, for the vehicle to run smoothly, definitely you have to complement the lubricating oil in addition to the petrol for the smooth functioning of your vehicle. So in case of complementary goods, definitely the demand will not fall down even if there is an increase in the price of the complementary goods. So what can you say about the type of elasticity here? It is said to be inelastic. The price elasticity is said to be inelastic for complementary goods. Okay, next is time determines the elasticity of demand. Say for example, in the long run, okay, there is a change in the price of commodity. Okay, there is a change in the price of what shall we take, uh, any substitutes being brought into the market. Okay, nothing comes to my mind. Okay, say in the long run, the price of the price elasticity of the commodity is said to be larger only. The reason is, suppose if the price of any commodity, take for example a car with all good features, okay, a car with very good features is launched in the market, the demand for that is good, is going on very well, and there is a good demand for the car. Now the competitor of that particular car manufacturer will definitely think of manufacturing a car with the same features to grab the demand for that car for him. Okay, see for example, take a WagonR for example. WagonR has got few features. Okay, and let us assume that WagonR has got very high market demand in the market. Now, to take the demand to the competitors of Maruti Suzuki, there are many other Hyundai, for example. To bring a car which has got almost the same features of this particular example car, it will take some time for Hyundai Motors to manufacture the cars of the same features. So this requires a long time. So for the demand, till then there will be demand for the WagonR car. So in the long run, the elasticity is said to be on the larger side, but in the short run the elasticity is said to be less only. So time determines the elasticity of demand, because in the long run only substitutes could be bought. Okay, in the very short run substitutes cannot be, all of a sudden you cannot create and develop a new car which is equal to the features of the already existing demanded car in the market. Now these are the determinants of elasticity of demand. Substitutes, okay, when close substitutes are available, elasticity will be lesser. When no substitutes are available, elasticity will be high, that is inelastic demand. And elasticity also depends upon the proportion of consumers' income spent on the commodity. If small proportion of money is being spent on the commodity, means such commodities enjoy inelastic demand, or the elasticity will be very small. Number of uses. If a particular commodity can be put to so many uses, for such commodity the elasticity will be larger. Next is for complementary commodities, the elasticity will be very small, or it can say it is price inelastic. Time determines the elasticity of demand. In the long run, the elasticity will be larger. In the short run, elasticity will be very small only. Now, how to measure the elasticity of demand? There are a few methods to measure the elasticity of demand. Basically, we have three methods to measure the elasticity of demand. One is percentage method, a very simple method. Okay, change in quantity demanded by change in price into original price by original quantity. That's all. Or else, change in quantity divided by change in price, take the percentage of that. Okay, so when you go by this method, you call it as percentage method. There is another method called as outlay method, total outlay method. Total outlay method refers to the total amount of expenditure spent by the consumer, or the total revenue that is obtained by the firm. Now here, what is total revenue basically? Price into quantity sold. Okay, suppose if the total revenue of a firm, if the firm is selling 1000 units of cars, the price of one car is 1 lakh. Okay, 5 lakhs. Well, let us take 5 lakhs. 1000 units they are selling. So 5 lakhs is the value of one car. So totally how much? 5 into 1000. Okay, so this will be the total revenue of the for the firm. Now to understand the total outlay method, you have a small table here. Okay, now this table will help us to understand the types of elasticity. Now the first column you have price here, next column you have quantity demanded, third column you have total outlay. Take it as expenditure here. To understand from the point of view of a consumer, take the total outlay as what? Expenditure. Last column is elasticity. Now just look at the price column. When the price is 150, you demand 3 units of a commodity. When the price falls from 150 to 125, how much the price is falling down, so automatically you demand how many units? You demand 1 unit more. So the demand is increasing from 3 to 4. So what is the amount of expenditure that you spend on buying 3 units? 3 into 150, it is 450 here. The next case, 125 is the price, you buy 4 units. Totally you spend how much? 500. So your total outlay, when the price has fallen from 150 to 125, your total expenditure has increased from 450 to 500. Just look at the price column, there is a fall in price. Whereas total expenditure, there is a rise in total expenditure. In price, there is a fall in price. Put it as a downward arrow mark. Total outlay, there is a rise in total expenditure. Put an upward mark, arrow mark. So what sort of relationship is existing here? An inverse relationship is existing here. Whenever there is an inverse relationship between two variables, the elasticity will be greater than 1. Okay, so that is the reason why in the elasticity column it is given as greater than 1. Now come to the next two columns. When price is 125, quantity demanded is 4. When the price falls down to 100, quantity demanded increases to 5 because it is law of demand. It is operating on the basis of law of demand only. Now take second column and third column here. Now look into the total expenditure here. 125 into 4, it is 500. 100 into 5, it is 500. Now here, when the price is 125, your total outlay is 500. When the price falls to 100, again your total outlay is 100 only. Okay, just look into the second column and third column. When the price is falling, there is no change in the total outlay. Okay, even when the price is falling, there is no change in the total outlay. In such a situation, the elasticity is said to be how much? Equal to 1. Okay, the elasticity is said to be equal to 1. There is no change in the outlay. Now come to the fourth and fifth column. When the price is 100, you demand 5 units. Total amount spent is how much? 500. 100 into 5. When the price falls to 75, you demand 6 units of commodity. How much expenditure you are doing totally? 75 into 6, 450. Now look at the first column and the third column. When there is a fall in price from 100 to 75, there is a fall in expenditure from 500 to 450. Okay, in both the cases there is a fall. Okay, when both the variables move in the same direction, you call it as what relationship? Direct relationship. Okay, they move in the same direction. So both are directly related to each other. Whenever two variables are directly related to each other, the elasticity is said to be lesser than 1, or you call it as inelastic. Okay, how do you call it as? You call it as inelastic. The first one, you call it as elastic demand, where the value is greater than 1, because both the variables they move in the opposite direction. They are said to be inversely related to each other. In the second case, for a change in price, there is no change in quantity spent, amount of expenditure spent. So you call it as unitary elastic, where the value is equal to 1. In the third case, there is a fall in price, there is a fall in total expenditure also. So both move in the same direction. It is said to be directly related to each other, where the value of elasticity is lesser than 1. You call it as relatively inelastic. Okay. The next is point elasticity of demand. The next type of measurement of elasticity of demand is point elasticity of demand. Here, in this case, just look into the diagram. Very simple. The formula to find point elasticity of demand is lower segment of the demand curve by upper segment of the demand curve. Here, RM is the demand curve. Okay, it is said to be a linear demand curve. Linear demand curve means a straight line, okay, which either touches the x-axis or the y-axis. Such a line only you call it as linear demand curve. Let us not go deeply into the algebraic part of it. Okay, linear demand curve, it is a straight line. Here RM is a demand curve. As usual, you have taken quantity in the x-axis, price in the y-axis. Now, a few points are marked on the demand curve RM. Let us see what are the points. Q is a point, P is a point, S is a point, and RM are also points on the demand curve RM. Now, elasticity could be found at different points on the demand curve. Suppose, for example, let us take the distance between each point, that is RQ is 1, QP is 1, PS is 1, SM is also 1. Let us assume that, okay, the total length of the curve RM is 4. It is just only an assumption. And the distance between each point is 1 centimeter, let us assume. Now, at point S, how will you find the elasticity at point S? Lower segment of the demand curve by upper segment of the demand curve. Lower segment of the demand curve is what? SM. Upper segment is what? RS. So 1 divided by 3. What is the value of 1 divided by 3? It will be lesser than 1. That is what it is given there. Okay, EP is lesser than 1. Now take point P. At point P, what is the elasticity? Lower segment of P is what? PM. What is the value of PM? 1 plus 1, 2. Divided by upper segment of demand curve. Upper segment of demand curve is what? PR. What is the value of PR? 1 plus 1, it is 2 again. 2 divided by 2, it is equal to 1. So that is the value of elasticity at P. Now go to Q. At Q, what is the elasticity? Lower segment of the demand curve is how much? QM. That is 1 plus 1 plus 1. That is 3. Divided by upper segment. What is upper segment? RQ. What is the value of RQ? It is 1. So 3 divided by 1, it is 1. 3 divided by 1 is 3. The value is greater than 1. So at Q, the value of elasticity of demand is greater than 1. EP is greater than 1. Now go to R, at the point R. At point R, what is the elasticity of demand? What is the lower segment at R? RM. RM is the lower segment. Okay. Divided by upper segment. Lower segment, what is the value? 4. Divided by upper segment, there is no upper segment. So you can take it as 0. 4 divided by 0, what is the value? It is infinity. Any number divided by 0 is what? Infinity. That is the reason why at R they have given EP is equal to infinity. Now come to M. At M, what is the elasticity of demand? At M, lower segment is 0. Upper segment is 4. Okay. Lower segment is 0. 0 divided by 4. The value is 0. Okay. That's the reason why at M they have given EP is equal to 0. So, this is, that is all with elasticity of the different methods of measuring elasticity of demand. Now, coming to why should we learn the elasticity of demand? Is there any need or scope if we learn this elasticity of demand? It has got importance. We can employ by finding out the degree of elasticity of demand, it is useful in the following ways. First thing is fixation of price. See, when it is very, very useful for the sellers, whether it is a monopoly or it is an imperfect competition, it is very, very easy for the sellers to fix the price for the commodity. Suppose if a product has got inelastic demand, if the elasticity is inelastic in nature, that is, you can fix a very high price for the commodity. Reason is, whatever is the change in the price, same quantity is being decided, is being bought by the consumers. So what will the monopolist do, seller do? He will fix a high price for the product. Okay, even if he is fixing a low price, people buy the same units of commodity. Even if he is increasing the price, people buy the same commodity. So what price will he fix? He will always fix a high price for the product. So to fix the price of the product, study about the elasticity of demand is very, very useful. Next is producer. For the producer to decide this much will be the demand for the product. Okay, elasticity of demand is very, very helpful for us. Okay, if the elasticity is greater than 1, it means that it enjoys good amount, elasticity value is greater than 1. So, we will produce more. Okay, so likewise, for the producer to design the level of production, this elasticity of demand is very, very helpful for them. Next is for distribution. See, for giving the rewards for the factors of production. What are the factors of production? Land, labor, capital, organization. Labor, take for example labor. Suppose if the demand for labor is inelastic, okay, you have only limited number of labors, okay, whatever you give, you are ready to give high wages also, but you don't get any labor. Okay, in such a situation, it is very easy for the entrepreneurs to decide what amount, what is a reward that has to be given for the workers. Okay, next is international trade. Whenever we talk of international trade, we need to learn about balance of payment and balance of trade. To decide the trade terms of trade relationship between two countries, okay, if one country is totally dependent on the other country for its needs, means definitely it is said to be elastic, and it is the demand for that product is inelastic. See, there is no other countries producing oil, so where we have to depend upon, we have to depend only on the Middle East countries. So the international elasticity of demand for oil is definitely inelastic. Whatever the price they quote, we have to buy from the Middle East countries only. So for international trade also, it is very helpful for us to learn about the elasticity of demand. Next is for public finance. See, whenever we talk of public finance, it is something which is related to the functioning of the government and formulation of the tax policies and all. See, for commodities which enjoys inelastic demand, they can fix a high tax percentage. Okay, heavy tax could be imposed. So for imposing the tax for a commodity also, it is easy for us to fix the tax for the commodity if we know whether the product enjoys elastic demand or inelastic demand. Next is nationalization. Nationalization means Desiyamayamakadal in Tamil, where it is a process of taking over of the companies by the government. Okay, when the government takes the functioning of the management into its hands, you call it as nationalization. See, the concept of elasticity of demand, it helps the government to decide whether this could be nationalized or this could be left for private sector. Suppose if the government finds that a particular sector or a particular industry or a industry is exploiting the consumers by charging heavy price on the product just because it enjoys inelastic demand, definitely it will be easy for the government to nationalize that particular industry. So nationalization is also being done based on the elasticity of demand for a commodity. With this, I shall finish today's class, and for homework, just a second children, for homework I want you to okay, I shall post it in the group children. Okay, thank you, have a good day, bye bye.